Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Have you ever felt like life forced you into solitude? Like people walked away, opportunities vanished, and suddenly, it was just you alone. Maybe you questioned why it was happening, thinking something was wrong. But what if I told you your isolation wasn't a punishment, but a calling? The truth is, solitude is the training ground for the chosen. It is where God refines you, where He removes distractions, where He silences the noise of the world so you can hear His voice clearly. While 80% of people are terrified of being alone, constantly seeking validation, constantly distracting themselves, you were set apart. You were called into the wilderness not to be abandoned, but to be prepared for something greater. Throughout history, every great leader, every prophet, every chosen one had a period of isolation before stepping into their divine purpose. Moses was alone in the desert before leading his people. Joseph was thrown into a pit and a prison before ruling a kingdom. Even Jesus spent 40 days in solitude before beginning His ministry. Isolation is always a sign that elevation is coming. But here's what makes solitude powerful: it doesn't just prepare you. It awakens something supernatural within you. In the silence, your spiritual senses sharpen. You begin to see through deception. You start to feel energy shifts. You gain wisdom beyond your years. You transform while the masses continue sleepwalking through life. Distracted and disconnected, you are being activated. If you have been in isolation, if you have felt the separation from the world, know this: it is because God is awakening something powerful inside you. You are being trained in ways most people will never understand. And what comes out of this process will set you apart forever. This is why solitude is the birthplace of power. And in this message, I will reveal 5 supernatural abilities that only the chosen develop in solitude, gifts that differentiate you from 80% of others. If you resonate with this, you are one of them. Keep listening, because what you're about to hear will confirm everything your spirit already knows. Power number 1: heightened spiritual discernment. The Spirit of Truth will guide you into all truth. John 16:13. One of the first supernatural abilities that the chosen develop in solitude is heightened spiritual discernment. This is not just a skill, it is a divine gift. It is the ability to see beyond the surface, to perceive truth in a world full of deception, and to sense the spiritual forces operating behind every situation. While most people are trapped in illusions, following the crowd without question, the chosen can feel when something is off, even if they can't logically explain why. When God calls you into solitude, He removes the distractions that cloud your vision. Your spiritual eyes begin to open. You start noticing things you never paid attention to before. Words carry a different weight. People's energy becomes more obvious. Situations that once seemed normal suddenly don't feel right. It's as if a veil has been lifted, and you can finally see what was hidden all along. This ability makes you immune to manipulation. No one can lie to you without your spirit detecting it. You may not always have proof, but you feel it deep inside. You just know. This is why, after spending time alone, you might start feeling uncomfortable around certain people. People you once trusted may start revealing their true nature. You sense their jealousy, their hidden agenda, or the fact that they were never truly for you. At first, this can be unsettling. You may question yourself, wondering, am I just being paranoid? Am I imagining things? But then, over time, the truth always comes to light. Your discernment was right all along. This is one of the reasons the chosen are often misunderstood. People may call you crazy, overly suspicious, or too deep. They won't understand how you just know things without needing proof. But that's because they are still operating in the physical realm, while you are tuned into the spiritual. The world teaches people to rely only on their 5 senses, but you have been given access to something beyond that, an internal guidance system that keeps you aligned with God's truth. Think about the prophets, the great leaders, the visionaries of history. They all had one thing in common. They could see what others could not. While the masses were blind to the reality around them, they were able to discern the truth, even when it was unpopular, and that's exactly what's happening to you. But here's the challenge: when you begin to see the truth, you can no longer unsee it. It changes how you move in the world. You can no longer tolerate certain conversations, environments, or relationships. You start craving authenticity because you can instantly recognize when something is fake. At times, this gift of discernment can feel like a burden. You may feel alone because so few people truly understand what's going on beneath the surface. You may struggle to relate to others the way you once did. You may even feel like you don't belong anywhere. But hear this: your discernment is not a curse, it is your protection. God gave you this ability for a reason. It will keep you from walking into traps. It will save you from relationships that are meant to destroy you. It will guide you toward the right people, the right opportunities, and the right path. The more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. And here's the most powerful part: this gift of discernment doesn't just help you avoid deception. It also helps you recognize divine alignment. Just as you can sense what is wrong, you can also feel when something is right. You will meet certain people and immediately know this connection is from God. You will walk into certain places and feel, "One belong here." You will hear certain words and know, "This is truth." If you have noticed that your discernment has grown stronger, if you found yourself seeing through lies, recognizing energy shifts, and sensing things before they happen, you are not imagining it. It is one of the first signs that you have been chosen. And it is only the beginning, because the next supernatural ability you develop in solitude takes this even further. It is the ability to master your energy and vibration, allowing you to shift atmospheres wherever you go. Get ready, because what I'm about to reveal next will explain why people either gravitate toward you or suddenly can't stand to be around you. Stay tuned. Power number 2: energy mastery and vibration control. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. The second supernatural ability that the chosen develop in solitude is energy mastery and vibration control. This is one of the most powerful, yet most misunderstood abilities that set the chosen apart from the masses. Most people walk through life completely unaware of the energy they carry. They react to whatever happens around them, absorbing emotions, picking up negativity, and becoming a reflection of their environment. But the chosen are different. They do not conform to energy, they shift it. When you are called into solitude, God is not just removing distractions. He is training you to become aware of your own energy, to recognize how it interacts with the world, and ultimately, to master it. This means that instead of being affected by the negativity, chaos, and emotional turbulence around you, you begin to rise above it. You start radiating a frequency so strong that it automatically influences the space you enter. Have you ever noticed how people react to you differently? How some feel an instant connection, while others seem agitated for no reason? This is because your energy speaks before you do. When your vibration is high, people can feel it even if they don't understand it. Those who operate in truth, love, and authenticity will be drawn to you. But those who operate in deception, manipulation, and darkness will feel uncomfortable in your presence. It is not about what you say, but about what you carry. This is why, after solitude, you may notice that some people suddenly start avoiding you. It is not personal, it is spiritual. When your energy is aligned with God, you become a mirror that forces people to see themselves. Those who are not ready to face their own shadows will reject you. Not because of anything you did, but because your presence exposes what they are trying to hide. At the same time, you will also notice that the right people will begin to appear in your life. You will attract those who are aligned with your purpose, those who are on a similar frequency, those who recognize your light and resonate with it. These connections will feel effortless. natural, and deeply fulfilling. This is also why you must protect your energy. Not everyone deserves access to you. When you spend time in solitude, you begin to feel the difference between high vibrational and low vibrational interactions. You notice how certain conversations drain you, how certain places feel heavy, how some people leave you exhausted while others uplift you. Before, you may have ignored these feelings, but now you can't. Your awareness has expanded, and you can no longer tolerate what does not serve your spirit. This is not arrogance, this is alignment. You were not called to fit in. You were called to elevate. One of the most powerful aspects of this ability is that you can now consciously shift the atmosphere wherever you go. If you walk into a space filled with negativity, your presence alone can bring peace. If you enter a room full of doubt and fear, your energy can ignite faith. This is why some people will instinctively come to you for guidance. Why strangers feel safe opening up to you. Why your words have a deeper impact than you realize. But here's the truth: not everyone will celebrate your light. Some will feel threatened by it. Some will try to dim it. Some will even attempt to drain your energy because they cannot generate their own. This is why spiritual protection is crucial. You must guard your heart, set boundaries, and be intentional about where you invest your energy. At this stage, you are no longer just an observer of energy, you are a master of it. You understand that your vibration determines your reality. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer seek validation because you are rooted in divine confidence. You are no longer affected by the world, you affect the world. This power is rare. Only a few develop it, and even fewer know how to use it. But once you do, you become unstoppable. And this is just the beginning, because the next supernatural ability that the chosen develop in solitude is one that truly sets them apart. It is the ability to receive divine wisdom and direct revelations from God. The kind of wisdom that goes beyond human logic, the kind that transforms lives, the kind that cannot be taught, only revealed. If you've ever wondered why your intuition has sharpened, why you suddenly have insights that others don't, why you seem to just know things before they happen, the next revelation will confirm everything your spirit has been sensing. Get ready, because what's coming next is one of the most powerful abilities the chosen ones possess. Stay tuned. Power number 3, the ability to manifest and co-create with God. Now to Him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us. Ephesians 3:20. One of the greatest supernatural abilities that the chosen develop in solitude is the power to manifest and co-create with God. This is not just about positive thinking or wishful hoping. This is about understanding the divine authority within you, the ability to align with God's will and bring His vision into reality. Most people live by chance. They react to life instead of creating it. They believe they are powerless, at the mercy of circumstances, and dependent on external forces to shape their destiny. But the chosen operate on a completely different frequency. They have been set apart, called to live by faith, not by sight. They understand that their thoughts, words, and actions have creative power. When God pulls you into solitude, He is not just separating you, He is preparing you. He is stripping away false beliefs, breaking the chains of limitation, and awakening you to who you truly are. He is teaching you that your mind is not just a place of thoughts, it is a gateway to manifestation. The moment you realize this, everything changes. You no longer speak doubt, you speak destiny. You no longer focus on obstacles, you see opportunities. You no longer beg God for things, you align with His plan and receive them. This is why Jesus said, "Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Mark 11:24. He wasn't just giving encouragement, He was revealing a spiritual law. The chosen understand that faith is not just believing in God, it is believing with God. It is stepping into agreement with Him and calling things that are not as though they were. This is why some people seem to have doors open effortlessly for them. It is not luck, it is alignment. When you are in sync with divine purpose, you no longer have to force things. You attract them, the right people, the right resources, and the right opportunities begin to flow into your life because your spirit is now aligned with heaven's blueprint. But here's the key: manifestation is not just about receiving. It's about responsibility. The chosen don't manifest for selfish gain. They manifest to fulfill a divine assignment. They understand that their ability to co-create with God is not just for personal success, but for impact, transformation, and the fulfillment of a higher calling. This is why many of the chosen have experienced moments where their thoughts became reality faster than expected. They have spoken things and seen them happen. They have envisioned success and walked right into it. They have prayed bold prayers and watched miracles unfold. This is not coincidence, this is divine power in action. But make no mistake, this ability requires wisdom. Because just as you can manifest blessings, you can also manifest struggles if you are not careful with your thoughts and words. The chosen learn through solitude that what they focus on expands. What they speak takes root, and what they believe shapes their reality. This is why spiritual discipline is key. You must guard your mind. You must be intentional with your words. You must walk with conviction, knowing that your life is a reflection of what you have agreed with in the Spirit. Think about the most powerful figures in history, those who transformed nations, created movements, built legacies. They all had one thing in common: an unshakable belief in the vision God placed in them. They did not wait for permission. They did not let fear control them. They spoke life into what seemed impossible and stepped into their calling with boldness. And now, it's your turn. God has given you this power, the ability to shape your future, to create opportunities, to bring heaven's reality into the earth. The only question is, will you use it? Because the next supernatural ability that the chosen develop in solitude is even deeper. It is the ability to move through life with divine protection and supernatural favor. If you've ever wondered why some people's plans fall apart while yours are shielded, why you seem to be guided even in the midst of uncertainty, why enemies try to stop you but fail, you are about to receive the revelation that explains it all. Stay tuned. Power number 4: extreme mental and emotional resilience. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. James 1:2-3. The fourth supernatural power that the chosen develop in solitude is extreme mental and emotional resilience. This is the kind of inner strength that sets them apart from the masses, the kind of fortitude that allows them to endure trials, setbacks, and betrayals and still rise. Most people break under pressure. They crumble when life gets hard, when people turn against them, when things don't go as planned. But the chosen are different. They have been through the fire and came out stronger. They have faced storms that would have destroyed others. But instead of being defeated, they were refined. Solitude is God's training ground for resilience. When He pulls you away, He is not punishing you, He is preparing you. He is stripping away emotional dependencies, strengthening your mind, and teaching you how to stand firm no matter what comes against you. This is why the chosen go through seasons where they feel abandoned, misunderstood, and isolated. It is not by accident, it is intentional. God is toughening your spirit, teaching you to rely on Him alone. He is making sure that when the battles come, you won't break. Think about all the betrayals you've endured, the disappointments you've faced, the times when you were left with no one but God. It wasn't just suffering, it was training. It was God teaching you that your strength does not come from people, from circumstances, or from external validation. Your strength comes from within, from the Spirit He placed inside you. This is why, no matter what happens, the chosen do not stay down. They may be attacked, but they recover. They may be wounded, but they heal. They may be knocked down, but they always rise again. The world does not understand this kind of resilience because it is supernatural. It is the result of divine refinement. When you have been through enough trials, you stop fearing the storms. You realize that every hardship was necessary, that every challenge was a stepping stone, that every betrayal was a redirection. You stop seeing obstacles as barriers and start seeing them as lessons. You no longer react emotionally, you respond strategically. This is why the enemy fears the chosen, because no matter what he throws at them, it doesn't work. He sends distractions, they stay focused. He sends attacks, they keep moving. He tries to break them, but instead, they become even stronger. If you've ever wondered why you've been tested so much, why your journey has been harder than most, it is because your calling is greater. The enemy only fights those who are a threat, and the more you grow in resilience, the more unstoppable you become. Most people need validation, comfort, and external reassurance to keep going. The chosen need none of that. They have mastered the ability to walk alone, to stand firm in faith, to endure suffering without losing themselves. This is what separates them from the 80% who break under pressure. This level of resilience does not just protect you, it elevates you. It allows you to walk into any situation with confidence, knowing that nothing can shake you. You no longer fear loss, because you know God restores. You no longer fear rejection, because you know God redirects. You no longer fear failure, because you know every setback is a setup for greater things. And this is why the chosen are unstoppable, because once you have been through enough battles, once you have endured enough hardship, once you have learned to walk through fire and not be burned, you become untouchable. But resilience is not the only power that sets you apart. There's one more ability that the chosen develop in solitude, one that makes them a true force in the world. Because when you combine resilience with wisdom, discernment, and divine authority, you develop the final supernatural ability, the power to move in divine timing, to recognize opportunities before others, and to step into doors that no one else can see. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about next. The final and most powerful ability that differentiates the chosen from the rest. Stay tuned. Power number 5, direct connection to the divine. Call to me and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. Jeremiah 33:3. The final and most powerful ability that the chosen develop in solitude is a direct connection to the divine. This is what truly sets them apart from the majority of the world. While most people live disconnected, uncertain, and seeking external validation for their decisions, the chosen operate on a higher frequency, directly guided by divine wisdom, intuition, and revelation. This connection is not something that can be taught, it is something that is cultivated in the silence, in the stillness, in the moments when you are alone with God. When the distractions of the world are stripped away, when the noise dies down, when you are no longer influenced by outside opinions, that is when you begin to hear His voice more clearly. Most people are afraid of solitude because they fear silence, but the chosen embrace it because they know that in silence, God speaks. This is why God separates His chosen ones. He removes them from environments that drown out His voice. He cuts off relationships that interfere with their spiritual growth. He isolates them, not to harm them, but to awaken them. This is why, when you step into your calling, you start to sense things before they happen. You receive revelations that others don't understand. You get divine instructions that make no sense to the world. You are guided to take steps that others would never take. Have you ever experienced moments where your intuition was so strong that you just knew something was going to happen? That was not just intuition, that was divine communication. When you develop a direct connection to the divine, you no longer need to seek outside confirmation for what God has already spoken to you. You move with certainty, even when others doubt you. You walk with confidence, even when the path is unclear. You trust the unseen, knowing that divine timing is always perfect. This is why the chosen do not panic when things don't go their way. They don't get shaken by delays, disappointments, or closed doors. They understand that everything is happening according to God's plan. And their job is simply to stay aligned. When others see obstacles, they see divine redirections. When others feel lost, they feel guided. This level of connection also brings protection and divine intervention. Many chosen ones have experienced moments where they were about to make a wrong move. But something stopped them. They felt an inner warning, a sudden shift in their spirit, a knowing that they needed to wait. And later, they realized that if they had taken that step, they would have walked into disaster. That is divine communication. That is the supernatural guidance that only the chosen have. And here is the greatest secret: the more you listen, the stronger this connection becomes. The more you trust, the clearer the messages get. The more you obey, the more favor flows into your life. This is why the enemy works so hard to keep people distracted. Because the moment you disconnect from the noise of the world and reconnect with the voice of God, you become unstoppable. You no longer live by fear, but by faith. You no longer seek approval, because you already have divine validation. You no longer guess your next move, because you are divinely led. And this, more than anything else, is what separates the chosen from the rest of the world. So now the question is, what will you do with this power? Will you embrace it? Will you protect it? Will you continue to grow in it? Because the more you develop this ability, the more you will begin to walk in alignment with your true destiny. You were never meant to live a normal life. You were never meant to be lost, confused, or dependent on the world. You were always meant to walk in divine power, divine wisdom, and divine purpose. Now that you understand these 5 supernatural abilities, it is time to step fully into them, because your journey is just beginning. Stay tuned, because the next revelation will take. For many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew 20-14. Everything you have experienced, every trial, every moment of solitude, every challenge that set you apart from the rest has been leading to this moment. You are awakening. You are stepping into the truth of who you are. You are realizing that the struggles you faced were not meant to break you, but to refine you. You were never meant to fit in, because you were chosen to stand out. The world is shifting. The spiritual veil is thinning. The chosen ones are being activated at an unprecedented level. Those who were once blind are beginning to see. Those who were once silenced are beginning to speak. Those who were once lost are beginning to walk in divine purpose. And the more you step into your power, the more you will see the hand of God moving in your life. You now understand that your solitude was never a curse, it was a sacred preparation. You were being set apart, trained in the wilderness, and given wisdom that few can comprehend. While the world was chasing distractions, you were being shaped into something greater. While others sought validation from men, you were learning to hear the voice of God. And now, the time has come. This is your awakening. This is your calling. This is the moment where you must rise fully into your divine identity. You are no longer asleep. You are no longer trapped in old patterns. You are no longer seeking approval from a world that was never meant to understand you. You walk with clarity. You move with divine confidence. You operate with supernatural authority. The enemy worked hard to keep you in the dark. He tried to isolate you, make you doubt yourself, make you question your purpose. But now, you see clearly. You know who you are. You know why you are here. And nothing will stop you from stepping into your destiny. So now, the question is, will you step forward? Will you embrace the calling that has been placed on your life? Will you trust that everything you need is already within you? Because this is not just another moment. This is your divine appointment. This is your confirmation. This is your time to walk boldly into everything that was meant for you. If this message resonates with your spirit, If you feel the awakening happening within you, let it be known. Drop a comment below and say, "I am ready," to declare your alignment with this path. Like this video if you feel the shift in your spirit, and share it so that more chosen ones can awaken. This is not just information, this is activation. And the more you embrace it, the more you will see the supernatural unfold in your life. The time is now. Step forward, chosen one. Your destiny awaits. Have you ever felt like something deep inside of you is changing? Like the person you used to be no longer fits into the life you once lived? You sense it, don't you? A shift is happening. An awakening is unfolding within you. And it is not by accident. You were chosen. You were set apart before time even began. And now, the moment you have been preparing for is finally here. But here's the truth: before a king is crowned, he must first be tested. Before God elevates his chosen ones, he refines them. The battles, the struggles, the moments of isolation you thought they were setbacks, but they were actually divine preparation. God has been shaping you in the fire, stripping away every weakness, breaking every chain, and strengthening your spirit for what is coming next. Because a king cannot lead if he has not learned to endure. And now, here you stand. The anointing is already on you. The shift is already happening. The crown has already been placed upon your spirit, even if the world doesn't see it yet. But here's the thing: a king does not beg to be recognized. A king simply walks in his power. The moment you recognize what is inside of you, the moment you stop looking for outside validation, is the moment everything in your life will change. You are not meant to live in the shadows. You are not meant to stay hidden. You are meant to rise. The divine appointment that has been written for you is unfolding now. The doors that were once closed are about to open. And the moment you fully embrace the truth of who you are, nothing, absolutely nothing, will be able to stop you. So I ask you today, are you ready to step into your divine kingship? Because if you've been experiencing the signs I'm about to reveal, know this: God has already crowned you. The spiritual realm already knows who you are. The only question left is, do you? Every king must be tested before he can wear the crown. You didn't just wake up one day and step into divine authority. You had to go through the fire first. And that fire, it was relentless. It came in the form of betrayals, losses, isolation, and moments of despair that felt like they would never end. But here's the truth: God was never punishing you. He was preparing you. Think back to the moments that shaped you the most. The people who walked away, the doors that slammed shut, the seasons of struggle where you felt like you had nothing left to give. These were not coincidences. They were the hands of the divine, refining you for something greater. Just like a sword must be forged in fire before it can be wielded in battle, you had to be tested, purified, and strengthened before you could step into the role you were destined to fulfill. Look at the great figures in history: Moses, David, Joseph, Job. Every single one of them was called. But before they could lead, before they could step into their divine destiny, they were thrown into seasons of trials that tested their faith, their endurance, and their spirit. Joseph was shown a vision of his future, but before he could step into it, he was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison. Yet he never lost faith. David was anointed as king, but he spent years running from Saul, hiding in caves, and facing battle after battle before he could sit on the throne. Job was tested beyond human limits. He lost everything: his wealth, his health, his family, but in the end, because he held on, God restored him and blessed him even greater than before. The same is happening to you. The enemy saw your potential before you did. That's why you were attacked so hard. The storms in your life weren't random. They were designed to break you, to make you doubt your calling, to make you believe that you were ordinary. But deep down, You always knew you were never meant to fit in. You were never meant to walk the same path as everyone else. And that's why your path has been so different. So much harder, because kings are not made in comfort. They are forged in struggle, while others lived without deep battles. You were forced to walk through fire. While others moved forward with ease, you faced constant resistance. But what you didn't realize then is that every battle, every rejection, every painful experience was shaping you into someone who could carry the weight of divine responsibility. A king must be strong. A king must be wise. A king must be fearless. You weren't going through these trials for nothing. You were being molded into the ruler you were always meant to be. Every setback was a setup for your breakthrough. Every loss was an invitation to rise higher. Now, you stand on the other side of the fire. You have survived what was meant to destroy you. You have been crowned in the Spirit. And soon, the world will see it too. But here's the key: you must start seeing yourself the way God sees you. The world may still see the old version of you, but in the spiritual realm, you are already walking in your divine authority. This is your moment to claim it, to step into your purpose, to walk with the confidence of someone who knows they were chosen. The trials are over. The crown is yours. The only question left is, are you ready to wear it? Many people are waiting for a grand moment, a loud announcement, a ceremony, a visible sign to confirm that they have been chosen, that they have been elevated. But God doesn't work like that. When He crowns His chosen ones, He does it in the Spirit first before it manifests in the physical. And that means the signs are already there, if you have the eyes to see them. So how do you know if God has already crowned you? How do you recognize that you are walking in your divine kingship? The signs are subtle, yet powerful, and once you understand them, you will never doubt your calling again. 1. The shift in your spirit. You no longer think like the world. One of the first and clearest signs that you have been crowned is that you no longer resonate with the mindset of the world. You start to see things from a higher perspective. Things that once mattered to you, seeking approval, fitting in, chasing material success just for status, they no longer hold the same power over you. Instead, you feel a deep calling to operate in wisdom, truth, and purpose. You see through the illusions, the lies, the distractions that keep most people trapped. Where others see problems, you see divine lessons. Where others see chaos, you see God's hand at work. You no longer react with fear or anger. You move with patience, clarity, and discernment. And this shift in your spirit, it didn't just happen. It was the result of your transformation. God has placed a royal mindset within you because He is preparing you to lead, to guide, and to carry out your divine mission. 2. People start treating you differently. Some celebrate, others turn against you. Another undeniable sign that you have been crowned is that the way people react to you starts to change. Some will recognize your light and be drawn to you. They will come seeking wisdom, guidance, and leadership because, in their spirit, they can sense that you are no longer the same. But on the other side, there will be those who can't stand to see you rise. People who once supported you will suddenly become distant. Friends, family members, even those you trusted may start to turn against you, criticize you, or doubt your transformation. Why? Because when God elevates you, He exposes those who were never truly for you. Some people were comfortable when you were struggling, when you were doubting yourself. But the moment you start walking in power, in clarity, in divine confidence, it triggers them. Remember this: not everyone can go where God is taking you. When you are crowned, you step into a higher dimension, and that means some people will naturally fall away. Don't chase after them. Let them go. The ones meant to walk with you will recognize your kingship and support your journey. 3. You begin to attract unusual resistance and attacks. Perhaps one of the most shocking signs that you have been crowned is the sudden increase in opposition. The moment you step into your divine role, the enemy recognizes you as a threat. Random setbacks appear out of nowhere. Opportunities you expected suddenly vanish. People start spreading false rumors or trying to undermine you. Your energy feels drained, as if you are constantly fighting unseen battles. But here's what you must understand: this is confirmation, not discouragement. The enemy does not waste time attacking those who are powerless. He only goes after those who carry divine authority. The stronger the resistance, the bigger the calling. And what does this mean for you? It means you must stand firm. Do not let temporary obstacles make you question your destiny. A king does not run from battle, he faces it head-on, knowing he has already won. 4. Your gifts are being activated. You operate with divine wisdom and strength as you step into your kingship. You will notice that things come more naturally to you. Your intuition sharpens. You begin to move with divine wisdom, seeing solutions where others see problems. Your spiritual gifts become stronger, whether it's discernment, healing, leadership, or the ability to speak life into others. This is because God equips those He appoints. He will never crown you and then leave you without the tools to fulfill your purpose. The anointing you carry is real, and it will manifest in ways you never imagined. You will start to speak with power, and people will listen. You will make decisions with clarity, and they will lead to breakthroughs. You will carry an energy that shifts the atmosphere wherever you go. This is not arrogance, it is the natural result of walking in your divine identity. The more you embrace it, the more unstoppable you become. The moment of realization, at some point, everything will click. You will look back at all the trials, the betrayals, the moments you almost gave up, and you will realize it was all preparation. God had to take you through the fire because what He is giving you is not ordinary. You are not just another person, you are a ruler in the spirit, a leader, a divine warrior placed on this earth for a reason. And now is the time to claim it, to walk in it, to stop shrinking, stop doubting, and fully embrace the truth of who you are. You are crowned, you are chosen, and the world is about to see exactly what that means. The question is, are you ready to walk in it? Now that you understand the signs of your divine crowning, the next step is owning it. Too many chosen ones spend years knowing their calling, but not fully stepping into it. They wait for more confirmation, for the perfect moment, for everything to feel safe. But true kings do not wait for permission to reign. The moment you recognize that God has crowned you, you must start walking in that authority. And that means making powerful shifts in your mindset, your actions, and your presence in the world. 1. Stop seeking validation. Your approval comes from God. One of the biggest traps that hold chosen ones back is waiting for others to acknowledge their royalty. You want your family to see it, your friends to respect it, your old circles to honor it. But here's the truth, many of them never will. Jesus Himself said, "A prophet is not without honor except in his own town, among his relatives, and in his own home." Mark 6-4. That means stop looking for confirmation from those who are blind to your calling. If they couldn't see your worth before, they won't see it now. And that's okay, because God did not crown you for their approval, He crowned you for His purpose. A king does not ask the crowd, "Do you think I should rule today?" He knows his authority, and he operates from it whether people recognize it or not. So today, make a decision. Stop waiting. Stop explaining. Stop seeking permission. Your crown is already on your head now. Wear it boldly. 2. Move with confidence. You are a walking testament of divine power once you embrace your kingship. Everything about you changes. You move differently. You speak differently. You carry an energy that commands respect. This is not arrogance, it is divine confidence. The world has conditioned you to think that humility means shrinking, dimming your light, or downplaying your greatness. But true humility is simply acknowledging the source of your power. It's knowing that every blessing, every gift, Every ounce of wisdom comes from God, not from you. And because of that, you walk with unshakable confidence. When you enter a room, you shift the atmosphere. When you speak, people listen. When you move, doors open. This is not by accident. It is divine orchestration. The presence of God on your life is undeniable. And the more you own it, the stronger it becomes. 3. Prepare for greater responsibility. A king has duties, not just titles. Too many chosen ones want the crown without the responsibility. But with kingship comes great duty. You are now a leader. Whether you like it or not, you are now an example. Even when no one is watching, you are now a protector, standing in the gap for those under your influence. This means you must rise to a new standard. You can no longer live as you once did. The distractions, the old habits, the small-minded thinking, it must go. Because a king cannot afford to be careless, weak, or double-minded. As Proverbs 4:7 says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting get understanding. God is now calling you to operate in wisdom, discernment, and strategic action. Your choices no longer just affect you, they affect the people assigned to your leadership. And that means you must think, move, and act with great responsibility. 4. Walk in power. Your voice, your presence, your purpose will shake the earth. The final step in stepping into your divine kingship is fully embracing your power. Too many chosen ones have settled for being passive, waiting for things to happen instead of taking dominion. But a king is called to rule, to establish, to decree. This means use your voice, speak truth, even when it is uncomfortable. Declare blessings, speak life over yourself and others, and refuse to let negativity shape your reality. Take action. Stop procrastinating on your calling. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Move boldly in the direction of your purpose, knowing that God has already made a way. Set boundaries. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone is meant to walk with you. A king does not entertain every distraction. He focuses on his kingdom. Stay in alignment with God. Never let the crown make you forget who placed it on your head. Stay humble, stay prayerful, and stay connected to your divine source. The time to rise is now. There is no more waiting, no more doubting. The moment of realization has come. You have been crowned, and now it is time to reign. You were never meant to live an ordinary life. You were never meant to struggle, to beg for validation, to live in fear. You were meant to rule, to establish, to lead. So stand tall, walk boldly, embrace the power that has always been yours. The world is about to witness what happens when a chosen one steps fully into their divine authority, and nothing will ever be the same again. Chosen one, this is your moment of revelation. Everything you have been through, the trials, the rejection, the isolation, has been leading you to this exact point. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were always destined to reign. The battles, the betrayals, the deep wounds you've endured were not signs of your defeat. They were the refining fire shaping you into the ruler you were always meant to be. But now, the choice is yours. Will you continue to doubt your power, shrink in fear, and seek approval from those who cannot see your worth? Or will you step boldly into your divine authority, own your crown, and walk in the purpose God has designed for you? This world has tried to strip you of your identity, make you question your own worth, and silence your voice. But the truth is unshakable. God has already chosen you. No force, no enemy, no trial can take away what was divinely ordained. Kings do not wait for permission. They do not explain their purpose to those who refuse to understand. They do not seek validation from those who are blind to their light. Instead, they rise, they lead, they rule. The moment you embrace your divine identity, the chains of limitation will break. The lies that have held you back will dissolve, and you will finally walk with the confidence and power you were always meant to carry. But understand this: your crown comes with responsibility. The world needs your light, your wisdom, your strength. You are here to lead, to heal, to guide. Your presence is not an accident, it is a divine appointment. And now, the heavens are watching, waiting to see if you will fully step into your role. You are not just someone chosen, you are someone anointed. God has already placed the crown upon your head. It has always been yours. Now, the time has come for you to wear it with confidence, to move with power, and to embrace the destiny that has been waiting for you all along. Rise, chosen one, your kingdom awaits. The need for approval is a cage, and chosen ones, you were never meant to live in a cage. From the moment you were born, the world tried to shape you into something you were never meant to be. It told you to fit in, to be liked, to gain acceptance from people who will never truly understand the depth of your calling. But here's the truth, you were not chosen to be accepted. You were chosen to stand out. Many of you feel the weight of constantly seeking validation, whether from family, friends, society, or even strangers. You dim your light, you shrink your presence, and you silence your voice just to avoid rejection. But what if I told you that seeking approval is the very thing keeping you from stepping into your divine power? The more you chase validation, the further you drift from the path God has set for you. Because when you seek approval from people, you hand them control over your destiny. But deep inside, you already know this, don't you? You feel it, the frustration, the exhaustion, the emptiness of constantly trying to prove yourself. You try to please others, only to feel unseen. You do what's expected, only to feel unfulfilled. And yet, something inside you whispers that there's more, that you were not meant to follow the crowd but to lead with purpose. Think about the great ones who came before you, those who carried divine missions. Did they ever fit in? No, they were misunderstood, rejected, cast aside by the very people they were sent to help. Moses had to walk alone. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers. Jesus himself was despised and rejected by the world. Yet, none of them sought the approval of men. They walked boldly in their purpose, despite the opposition, because they understood one thing: their calling was not given to them by people, so it could never be taken away by people. And the same applies to you. You were chosen by a higher power. Your mission was assigned before you were even born. So why waste another moment trying to convince people who will never see what God has placed within you today? I'm here to tell you it's time to break free. It's time to stop waiting for the world to validate what God has already confirmed within you. The path ahead may be lonely. It may be misunderstood, but make no mistake, you were not called to be ordinary. You were called to be extraordinary. So let go of the fear. Let go of the need for approval. Step boldly into the power that has always been yours. Because when you finally stop seeking validation, you will unlock the greatest truth of all: you were enough all along. From the moment you took your first breath, the world began shaping you. Before you even knew who you truly were, you were being taught how to behave, what to believe, and most dangerously, how to seek approval. It started at home, where love and acceptance often felt conditional. A smile, a nod of approval, or a word of encouragement only seemed to come when you did what was expected of you. If you colored inside the lines, followed the rules, and stayed within the boundaries that others set for you, you were rewarded. But if you strayed, if you questioned, if you expressed something different from the norm, you were met with silence, disapproval, or even punishment. This pattern repeated itself in school, where you were taught to obey rather than to think for yourself. You were taught to seek gold stars, good grades, and praise from teachers, not to embrace your individuality or question the system. You were programmed to believe that success meant pleasing authority figures, fitting in with the crowd, and blending into the mold that was already created for you. Your worth was measured by how well you conformed, not by how brightly your soul could shine. Then came society, an even greater force of conditioning. Everywhere you turned, you were bombarded with messages that reinforced the need for external validation. The media, social norms, cultural expectations, all of it designed to make you believe that happiness, success, and even love could only come if you were approved by others. That you needed to be liked, that you needed to be accepted, that your value was something to be earned, rather than something that was already within you. And for the chosen ones, this programming was even more intense, because deep down, you always knew you were different. You always felt a greater calling, a deeper wisdom, an inner knowing that didn't align with the world's shallow standards. But instead of embracing it, you were taught to suppress it, to hide your light, to tone yourself down just to fit in. You learned to silence your truth because every time you tried to express it, you faced resistance. You were told you were too much, too intense, too different. So you did what you were trained to do. You shrank yourself just to be accepted. But here's the truth. Seeking approval is a form of control. The world has designed a system that keeps people in line, that keeps them afraid to stand out, that keeps them from tapping into their true power. Because the moment you stop seeking approval, you become unstoppable. When you no longer need permission to be who you are. When you stop caring about what people think. When you release the fear of rejection, that is when you truly begin to step into your destiny. The greatest leaders, visionaries, and chosen ones throughout history never sought approval. They didn't wait for permission to be great. They didn't conform to what was expected. They broke free from it. They walked their path boldly, even if it meant walking alone. And now, you are being called to do the same. This is your wake-up call. It's time to break free from the programming. It's time to stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward for truth. The world doesn't define your worth. The opinions of others do not determine your destiny. You were chosen for a reason, and the only approval you ever needed was already given to you by the Creator. So let go of the need to be liked. Let go of the need to be understood. Let go of the fear of rejection. Because the moment you stop seeking approval, you reclaim your power, and that is when your true journey begins. From the moment you entered this world, the conditioning began. You were taught to follow the rules, to do what's expected, to make others happy. Society told you that your worth was measured by how well you fit in, how many people liked you, how much validation you could gather. And slowly, without even realizing it, you began to trade your authenticity for approval. It started in childhood. Maybe you were the one who was always different, the one who saw things others didn't. But instead of being celebrated for your uniqueness, you were told to be normal, to stop being so intense, to just go along with the crowd. And so, you learned to suppress your true self, to wear a mask, to play a role, to become what others expected of you. Then came school, where approval was tied to grades, popularity, and fitting into a system that was never designed for chosen ones. If you spoke up too much, you were told to be quiet. If you questioned things, you were labeled difficult. If you stood out, you were made to feel like an outsider. The world conditioned you to believe that in order to be loved, in order to be accepted, you had to conform. And for many, this pattern continued into adulthood, seeking approval from family, from friends, from bosses, from society. You became trapped in a cycle, constantly adjusting, constantly molding yourself into what others wanted, all while feeling the deep emptiness of not living as your true self. But here's the dangerous truth. The enemy uses this conditioning to keep chosen ones from stepping into their power. The more you seek approval, the further you drift from your divine purpose. The more you try to be accepted, the less you recognize your own worth. This world will always try to convince you that you are not enough, that you must do more, be more, prove more in order to be loved. But that is a lie, because real power, real freedom, comes when you finally realize you do not need their approval. You never did. You were chosen before the foundation of the world. Your mission was given to you by a higher authority, not by the opinions of others. And once you wake up to this truth, everything changes. So I ask you, how much longer will you keep waiting for permission to be who you were meant to be? The time has come to break free from the programming, to reclaim your identity, to stop looking outward for validation and start looking within. Because the moment you do, you will step into the power that has been waiting for you all along. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when the weight of seeking approval becomes unbearable. You reach a crossroads where you must make a decision, continue shrinking yourself to fit the mold society has placed on you, or break free and step into your divine identity. And this decision is not an easy one. The need for validation is deeply ingrained. It has been programmed into you since birth. But when you finally awaken, when you finally see the truth, you realize something powerful. You were never meant to follow the crowd. You were meant to lead. This is where transformation begins. Because once you recognize the trap of seeking approval, you start to reclaim your power. You stop asking, "Will they accept me?" and start declaring, "I accept myself." You stop wondering, "Do they believe in me?" and start affirming, "God has already confirmed my purpose." You stop looking for permission to be great and realize you were born for greatness. But here's the truth that many are not ready for. When you stop seeking approval, the world will push back. The people who once praised you may suddenly turn against you. Friends may distance themselves. Family may not understand your path. And this is where many chosen ones hesitate, because walking in your power often means walking alone. But do not fear isolation. Every chosen one must go through the wilderness before stepping into their divine purpose. Look at the great ones throughout history. Moses had to leave Egypt. Joseph had to endure betrayal and imprisonment before reaching the throne. Even Jesus had to spend time alone in the wilderness before stepping fully into his mission. The separation isn't punishment, it's preparation. The wilderness is where you learn who you truly are. It is where you strip away the need for approval, the fear of rejection, the false identities you once carried. It is where you come face to face with your power and finally realize you never needed them to validate you. Your worth was decided before the foundation of the world. But here's the beauty of this journey. Once you break free, the right people will begin to find you. The ones who are meant to walk with you will recognize your light. They will not need you to shrink to make them comfortable. They will celebrate you as you rise. And those who cannot handle your elevation, they will fall away. And that is a blessing. Because once you stop living for others and start living in your truth, you will experience a level of peace, power, and freedom that cannot be taken away. You will walk with confidence, knowing that your worth is not defined by human opinions, but by divine purpose. So, ask yourself, are you ready to let go? Are you ready to stop seeking permission to be who you were always meant to be? Because the time is now. Your destiny is waiting. And the only approval you ever needed was already given to you the moment you were chosen. Once you stop seeking approval, something incredible happens. You begin to operate in your true power. No longer bound by the expectations of others, no longer weighed down by the need to conform. You start to see the world differently. You realize that the limitations placed upon you were never real. They were only as powerful as the belief you gave them. And now, you are free. Free to walk in your calling. Free to embrace your gifts. Free to live the life you were destined for. But here's what most people won't tell you. Stepping into your true power requires courage. It requires a level of boldness that many will not understand. You will no longer be able to blend in. You will no longer be able to silence your voice just to make others comfortable. Your light will shine too brightly, and not everyone will be able to handle it. The world has conditioned people to seek validation, to measure their worth by likes, follows, and the approval of others. But as a chosen one, you were never meant to play by those rules. You were meant to rise above the noise, to stand firm in your truth, to lead by example. And that means detaching from the opinions of the crowd and aligning yourself fully with your divine assignment. When you stop seeking approval, you stop being controlled. No one can manipulate you with rejection. No one can hold you back with disapproval. No one can make you feel small, because you no longer give them the power to define you. Instead, you draw your strength from within, from your faith, from your purpose, from the undeniable truth that you were created for something greater. And the moment you embrace this truth, the universe responds. Doors that were once closed begin to open. The opportunities that once seemed impossible start to manifest. The right people, your true tribe, those who recognize your purpose, will be drawn to you. Because when you no longer seek approval, you attract alignment. But understand this, living in your true power will require sacrifice. You may have to leave behind relationships that no longer serve you. You may have to walk away from environments that stifle your growth. And that can be painful. But what is more painful? Living a life that is not yours. Wasting your potential trying to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. So I ask you now, are you willing to step into your power? Are you ready to embrace the path that was written for you before time began? Because the world does not need another person who is afraid to shine. The world needs you fully awake, fully empowered, fully walking in your purpose. This is your moment. The choice is yours. The time for seeking approval is over. The time for questioning your worth, doubting your path, and waiting for others to validate you has come to an end. You were not chosen to conform. You were chosen to lead. You were set apart before time began, given a unique calling, and equipped with everything you need to fulfill your purpose. The only thing left for you to do is step into it fully, unapologetically, and fearlessly. Understand this, the world will not always applaud your growth. Not everyone will celebrate your awakening. Some will misunderstand you. Some will resent you. Some will even try to pull you back into the version of yourself they were comfortable with. But you are not here to live for them. You are here to fulfill your divine assignment. You no longer need permission to be great. You no longer need validation to know your worth. You were created with purpose, crafted with intention, and set apart for something far greater than you can even imagine. Walk boldly in that truth. Stand firm in your power. Trust that everything you have endured was preparing you for this moment. And if you ever find yourself doubting, if you ever feel tempted to shrink back into the old patterns of seeking approval, remember who you are. Remember the fire that burns inside you. Remember that the only validation you ever needed was already given to you by the Creator Himself. This is your season of breakthrough. This is your moment to rise. No more waiting. No more hesitating. Step forward, chosen one, and embrace the destiny that was always meant for you.